and hours debating this August House. The Honourable Minister is creating his own budget after leaving this Parliament. We have done an analysis for the past 5 years. It's the same format, the same answer. There are certain ministries that we know who always overexpend. You go to your OPC, you go to Ministry of Agriculture, you go to some of these ministries, they actually overexpend. But then there are certain ministries that we know who always overexpend. You go to your OPC, you go to Ministry of Agriculture, you go by then decided the next year to bring another bill, another coordination bill for almost 100 billion RTGS. And in its wisdom, this August House said, no. You cannot bring another financial adjustment bill before disposing the area one. We asked you to go to the Auditor General for validation, you failed. And if you then go through, Mr. Speaker, you then realize, if you go through the Auditor General report, you realize that even in the years that the Honourable Minister was saying that we did the surplus, in reality we have actually been running deficits, implying that there are several condonation bills that are supposed to come before this August House that have not come. You also note, Mr. Speaker, one of the fundamental issues which affects the credibility of our budgeting process. Every time a mid-term report is presented, it is only prudent. A prudent minister would ensure that supplementary budgets are actually submitted to this August House. But what have we seen? We have not seen any supplementary budget for the past few years. And yet every year, the Honourable Minister is actually exceeding what we as Parliament would have approved in this August House. Such behavior, Mr. Speaker, cast doubt into the credibility even of us as Parliament of Zimbabwe. Why would the minister refuse to do what is constitutionally provided, bring a supplementary budget, and we, the MPs, will debate and approve it? But at the end of the year, we know the minister will run a deficit, and to make matters worse, he will not bring a condonation bill. Your Public Accounts Committee, Mr. Speaker, having noted that the Ministry of Finance was failing to come up with a proper validation and explanation to the debt that was incurred from 2015 to 2018, actually gave them a waiver earlier this year. And one would have thought that when the minister was bringing the midterm review, one of the key documents that we wanted to have a gazette of the condonation bills before he even talked of the midterm. But what is even painful, Mr. Speaker, is that the minister, if you look into the entire statement he made, he did not even pay attention to it. Then related to that, Mr. Speaker, is also the abuse that we have actually seen in respect to the unallocated reserve. Mr. Speaker, this house is the house that passes the budget, vote by vote. If you go through the appropriation bill up to when it becomes an act, starting from number 1 OPC going downwards. This house reserves a certain amount of money, which we then call unallocated reserve under the purview of the Ministry of Finance. But what has been happening, Mr. Speaker, is that the Honourable Minister, he has actually been violating the provision of the Constitution, especially Section 305, which states that if the money appropriated to a purpose under an appropriation act is insufficient, or if expenditure is needed for a purpose for which no money has been appropriated, the minister responsible for finance must cause an additional supplementary estimate to be presented to the National Assembly. And if the National Assembly approves the estimate, the minister must cause an additional supplementary appropriation bill. What the minister has been doing, he has been taking the money in the unallocated reserve as if it's his money. The money belongs to Parliament. The money belongs to the people. When you wanted to use the money from the unallocated reserve, the Honourable Minister should have the courtesy to come before the August House and say, Honourable members, this Ministry of Transport is actually overshot within the public finance management system, failing to submit its own financial statements. If the Minister of Finance can fail to submit, what more do we expect from other lower ministries? Can this ministry be trusted, Mr. Speaker, to then come up with a comprehensive global expenditure of the government? Mr. Speaker, it actually creates a problem. Then I wanted to delve, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the credibility of the budget, in terms of the budget and the disbursement matrix. What we have noted, Mr. Speaker, is that what we are budgeting and the budget that we spend hours and hours debating in this August House, the Honourable Minister is creating his own budget after leaving this Parliament. We have done an analysis for the past 5 years. It's the same format, the same answer. There are certain ministries that we know who always overexpend. You go to your OPC, you go to Ministry of Agriculture, you go to some of these ministries, they actually overexpend. But then there are other ministries that perennially they underspend. Look at Parliament. Look at the Auditor General. Year in, year out. Now the question is simple. Why are we coming up with a budget of saying we want to give the Ministry of Agriculture $10 when we know that the Ministry of Agriculture will always want more than $25? Why are we saying we are giving Parliament $100 when we know that for the past 5 years we have been giving them $40? Honourable members' allowances are not paid in time because Parliament is not being funded. The reason is that we have a treasury that is now the Minister of Finance to do. Part of the documentation that you were supposed to submit is actually the documentation from Zimstad on how the rebasing was done. Because without such information, Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult and it creates some speculation. If you check from the current GDP, the 44.4 billion, and the per capita figure of 3,000, one might be persuaded, unless the minister show otherwise, that is it not that the minister wants to tamper with certain ratios, like debt to GDP ratio? Is it not a question of the minister wants to make sure that the per capita reaches the 4,500 by 2030, so that at least we could actually claim that we've actually achieved the upper middle income status? We need transparency. The figures may be correct, we don't know. But without sufficient information tabled in this August House, Mr. Speaker, it is very difficult to look at. Then let me go to the debt. Mr. Speaker said the Honourable Minister in his presentation told us that the debt was above 21 billion US dollars. The Honourable Minister explained to us that there is the high-level debt program that they are doing. But I just want to bring this August House to this reality. In 2019, domestic debt was more than 10 billion. Through the SI Station Instrument 33 of 2019, it was wiped from above 10 billion to 550 million US dollars. Today, Mr. Speaker, that debt has increased from 550 million. Officially, they are saying it's 7.5 billion. It has increased in less than 6 years to 7.5 billion. But that's not all. According to the Auditor General 2024 report, she summarized every ministry, those that submitted, excluding Ministry of Finance and other ministries like Defense, those that didn't submit. But those ministries that submitted including Parliament. They've got several arrears. And according to the Public Debt Act, once a debt has actually exceeded 90 days, it is supposed to be now treated as a public debt. And I can tell you from the calculations that are there is a 2.3 billion that is owed to service providers and contractors, implying that the domestic debt on its own might actually have exceeded 10 billion US dollars. But not only that, Mr. Speaker, the domestic debt right now, the government is not borrowing in Zimbabwean dollar. They are borrowing mostly in US dollars. And guess what? The government is failing to honor its obligation when the commercial paper matures. Instead of spending time on the high level.
Order, Honourable Mushoriwa. You are left with 5 minutes.
No, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Instead of the government spending a lot of time asking President Chisano to come and mediate on the foreign debt, we need another forum, another conference to deal with the domestic debt. Because the domestic debt, if left unattended, it's going up exponentially. And right now, Mr. Speaker, if your debt is in US dollars, we're in trouble. And who suffers when the government becomes the major debtor? It's the poor person. The people in Zvarasekwa, the health system, everything goes away. Look at the quantum of amount that we are paying as interest. That amount that we are paying as interest is enough to cover the Ministry of Industry, is enough to cover the Ministry of Justice combined, it's also enough to cover the Auditor General. But we are continuously borrowing, digging a pit every time. Then, Mr. Speaker, let me end by looking into the revenue measures. The Honourable Minister, in his presentation, told us that we are running short. We failed to reach the revenue targets as at 30 June. On the other hand, Zimura told us that they've actually exceeded the half-year target. They'd actually raised more than 3.2 billion, above the 3.13 billion, the target that had been set. The Honourable Minister does not give us and does not tell us which non-tax item did not perform. Because we needed that information to say, if Zimura, in its tax correction, exceeded the target, which other non-tax items did we fail to achieve the target? The minister failed to give us the information, and one has to guess. When you look, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the revenue contributors to this revenue, Mr. Speaker, the poor of this country is being paid heavily, taxed heavily. And I want to give you an example. VAT contributes 25.3%, pay as you earn 19.9%, IMMT 7.1%. Do you know what that means, Mr. Speaker? It means that an employee working in this government who gets his $100, when you get your $100 is from your gross salary, you go to the bank. What the bank will do, they will deduct 2% when you want to do your transaction, plus another 1% for the bank. So from $100, you are now, before we even go there, the pay as you earn will take $20, so you are left with 8. Then you remove the 2% when you do the transaction. Then you go to pay to pick and pay to buy. You are charged 25% of the amount. Then, as if that is enough, you are supposed to pay your rates. So what does it mean? What it means, Mr. Speaker, is that tax burden is weighing heavily on the poor of this country. What we are supposed to be doing and what we expected the Honourable Minister to come up with new measures and a new method that could actually remove the burden from the poor. For instance, I would have wanted the minister to make sure that the IMT is removed completely. IMT is actually killing even financial inclusivity amongst the people. Right now, most people now have now shunned electoral transaction. It used to be around 12%. It has now gone down. Today we're talking about 7.1%. What it means is that people are now transacting on cash basis. And who is suffering? It is the government. Who is suffering? It is our health system. Who is suffering? It is our children. So, Mr. Speaker, say, I want to believe that in as much as the minister adhered to the provision of the law, but I think he missed a great opportunity to make sure that this country is taking a next step in terms of proper public finance management system. I thank you.